Welcome back. We are Holistically Speaking, and we are working on part three of our origin story. We are three women of color. We're all certified integrative mental health professionals. And today we are focusing on Dr. Catherine's origin story. But before we do, I want to make sure that you go check out our mood boosting food e-cookbooks that we developed as co-authors. They're on all of our websites. So either you want it or give it to somebody you care about or send the link to somebody you care about, but make sure you get it so they and them and you know all about it. So, Dr. Catherine, can you share a little bit about your credentials and your business?
Yes. And so I am Dr. Catherine Jackson, as Renelda said. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and I'm board certified in neuro. So I focus on all things the brain. And as you heard last month with Renelda, I love everything that is holistic. And I started with myself, and then I started using things with my patients. I'm also the owner and operator of Optimal Neuro Holistic Services, which is my practice where I primarily serve people of color. And I created the business, the company, this mental health and wellness space to make mental health and wellness services affordable for people. Because oftentimes, when people are looking for services, especially those who are either between jobs with insurances or just don't have insurance at all, they have to pay so much that is out of pocket. So I try to make quality mental health affordable for everybody. And so that's international speaker, author of other books besides our joint book, which is the Mood Boosting Foods book. So grab your copy. um, and um, and I love facilitating different groups. Every year for the last 5 or more years, I've facilitated diversity, equity, and inclusion group. And for the last 2 years, it has been my pure joy to run a group for women to help them to get out of poverty. So those are some things about me. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, Sheila and Renelda. I'm sure I'm forgetting
I
something.
was going to say, I'm sure you're forgetting something. And, just that piece of, I think we've all mentioned equity in our stories and why we're doing this work, and just that access and affordability is huge. And also, just that understanding. You mentioned you serve people of color, you want to make it affordable. And I mean, let's be real, our fields are very, very white. And that's only a problem if you're not including people who don't look like that, right? And so for
Yeah.
us, we're doing this work for people that look like us. And I would love to hear more about your book in just a moment, because you talk about helping people. In your book, you talk about helping people find the right kind of therapist for themselves.
Yes.
But before you get into that, can you share a little bit more about why you chose to be a brain doctor and how you incorporate
Yeah.
holistic health in that work?
Yes, I would love to. So I got it. It's funny when we're talking about our origin stories. How I got into this is I I always loved and had a passion for things that were related to the brain. But when I was in school, it wasn't my highest scores in the brain. I was just getting through classes and getting done with everything that I needed to do. But once I did my internship, I got bit by the brain bug pretty big. And as you finish your internship and you stay on for your postdoctoral fellowship, then you specialize. Like everybody starts to specialize as they're going further and further and getting closer and closer to being full-fledged um, doctors or psychologists with no supervision and nobody having to hold their hands and help them. And so as I was moving towards that state, it was I don't know what was slated for me. It wasn't the brain, but there were four of us ladies who were in the internship together. One specialized in testing, and that was her focus for her postdoctoral fellowship. She focuses on testing within the psychology field today. The other one was to focus on something else. I think it was more like the CEU building part of the practice. I cannot remember what I was supposed to be specializing in, but I know the third lady, or the other lady, was going to be specializing in the stuff that was related to the brain. However, she took a position someplace else. she she went someplace else. I think it was closer to home, um, more feasible, maybe even more pay. And she had young children and had recently gotten married. And as she was leaving to like, she was going in to tell them that she was going to be moving on after initially saying yes to staying on. She said, after I'm done, you should go in and let them know that you're interested in the neural work. And that is, in fact, what I did. And I have been focusing primarily on the brain ever since. I look at the brain in a holistic way, and I also am a trauma trained therapist. And so I look at it from a brain based perspective when thinking about trauma as well. So that is kind of how I got into this whole brain psychology thing.
Okay, you are one smart lady.
Absolutely.
Okay, and
Okay.
now I want to go back to the book. I mean, I know this is all interconnected, but can you explain why you wrote your book, like what the need of the book was for, and just what it covers? Because I think it's really important for people to hear. There isn't that much information out there for people seeking therapy and how to find the right support.
hmm yeah, so with my book, it is called, it was my very first book. It's called The Couch Experience, A Guide to Good Therapy. And it talks about the whole therapeutic experience from beginning to end. So before you ever call a therapist, it's all the different things that you want to do and where to look to kind of vet and kind of narrow down who you may want to call. And then you call different therapists. And I think when patients call therapists, they're being asked a lot of questions. But one of the key things that I always tell people, my family members and friends who are looking for a mental health professional, is that you interview the therapist too. You want to ask certain questions, especially things like how long they've been doing the work they've been doing, and have they helped other people with your specific need. And if it's for your child with that specific need, it's not enough to say that somebody has 30 years of experience, but if they don't have 30 years of experience or enough experience treating the actual thing that you will be bringing your child in for, or yourself for, then you may want to look elsewhere. Many people, and I'm sure Renelda and Sheila can attest to this too, will end therapy, just end. They don't say goodbye. They just stop coming. So in the book, I also go all the way to the whole process of what it looks like in between, like some of the things that can kind of come up, when to leave, not a good experience, and even how to end well. Ending does not mean you never go back, and you definitely want to have that final session so that you begin to kind of unwind, and you have some closure, and you'll highlight a lot of the gains from the beginning to the end of the session.
Mhm. Well, Dr. Catherine, what was the moment for you that made you realize that you needed to open your own business?
Ooh, that's a deep one, Renelda. So I work, do consultations or consult with a group practice. And it was at the time, most of the work that I was doing was with primarily people who were not of color. And so specializing in the brain and taking the nutritional route, like you, Renelda, looking at, talk to patients, and even like with you, Sheila, sleep and all the things that the three of us do. I didn't feel like I was giving enough of all of this, like Sheila said, you're one smart woman, but I didn't feel like it was benefiting the people who look like me or other people of color. And so I started my practice so that I could be able to share and work with more people who look like me, and other people of color, and it could be affordable, that they can work with somebody who is this trained, and it
Mhm.
still be affordable for them.
Well, I think it's beautiful how many different avenues you take to help other people.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. You're welcome. All right. Well, that ends our origin story. So, for anyone that wants to learn more about Dr. Catherine Jackson, myself, or Sheila, make sure to visit our websites or our social media handles. This is a three-part series, so you can start and watch them in whatever order you like. But since even though it's live, they're hosted on the sites regardless, so you can always go back to them. And don't forget to check out our Mood Boosting Foods e-cookbook and be sure to share them. And our website was just posted on the scroll. You can hit rewind and see it again. Oh, there it goes. One more time. And be sure to like, share, leave a comment. Let us know that you were here or even a question because maybe you'll help us with another video. I'll see you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for joining.